Hi everybody, welcome to yoga. We're starting today just learning the basics, just a few poses that will be incorporated into our warm-up, also known as the sun salutation. For example, forward bend, upward dog, downward dog, and so on. The first thing I want you to be familiar with are just some supplies that you need to have daily each time you do yoga. Okay, so every time you go to do yoga, you want a few certain things. You do want your own yoga mat, of course, okay, especially for those of you who are new. If you're on a hard surface, if you want to do more than one mat, you can do a double mat, which you see here. Have one mat on top of the other, just because I'm on a really hard tile surface. Okay, depending on the surface you're on, you may just need one or two mats. It's your choice. Okay? Make sure you do get a yoga mat. It's a thinner type of mat than a workout mat. The workout mats are very thick and spongy, and they kind of mess with your balance. So you do want an actual yoga mat. The next thing you need to have is a yoga blanket or a cushion of some kind to sit on. Okay, so you can see here what type of blanket this is, and you can just fold it to where you can sit on it. What this does is elevate your hips in a way that it's much easier to sit for an extended period of time at that angle. So you will sit kind of on the edge of it with your feet and knees folded. Now notice here my feet are open. They're free. They're not locked in, kind of cutting off circulation. Now you can, if you're comfortable here in this position, you can do this. But for now, most of us will probably be just in this position, kind of in a cross-leg position, but notice again that the feet are free. Now, if you're on the edge of your blanket, you're going to roll the pelvis forward, sitting up tall, nice, clean posture. You'll hear me discuss posture all through this course. Good posture increases breath, improves your breathing process, it improves digestion, circulation, and everything. Okay. Also, good posture engages the core muscles and makes them do what they were designed to do, is to support our back. Okay. If we have poor posture, what we're doing is adding pressure into the spine. Okay. Good posture extends the spine and relieves some of the pressure in the back. So anyone who has neck or back joint problems, you want to first of all focus on this seated position. Getting a good, clean, seated position that you can stay in and be pretty comfortable in. Hands can be placed on the thighs or the knee area, as long as you're not putting pressure on that area. They could also be placed palm in palm in the center. Okay? Depending on your body and what's more comfortable to you, you can choose. Okay? I like the hands on the knees. So the first thing today, we're just going to start out just seated here for a few breaths. Again, this is kind of difficult to get used to for a lot of people who don't sit still very long, have never really sat and done any meditation or yoga of any kind. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a chance to ease into this position. So find your comfortable position there. If you're not elevated enough and you have a lot of pressure going on with the hips or the knees or the ankles, you can take your yoga blocks. Always have 2 yoga blocks used for multiple reasons. But you can take 1 or 2 blocks, place that at the edge of the blanket, have a seat on the block, and then as well, sit in that same position. Again, the feet are free and hands on the thighs. So go ahead and find your comfortable position there. Just going to stay there for a few seconds, a few breaths. Shoulders back, pubic bone rolling forward to the front of your mat. Go ahead and close your eyes, focus on your posture and your breath only. Don't try to change your breath yet. Just notice what's going on with it. On your next inhale, inhale through the belly area. So expand your belly, full of air like a balloon. And exhale deep. Inhale, fill the belly like a balloon. And continue that breath. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Make sure shoulders are down, back is straight, pubic bone rolling forward. Always check your seated position. Continue the deep breaths coming from the belly. So you don't want the breaths being shallow coming from up in the chest cavity. You want them deep into the belly. Continue those breaths. Let's take 3 more breaths. Slowly open your eyes. Go ahead and take the blocks, move the blocks out to the sides of your mat. A couple of other things that you always want to have while you're doing yoga is a sweat towel, okay? Just for obvious reasons, but also if your hands are really sweaty, you can lay it across your mat, put your hands on the towel instead of the mat. You can also have some yoga gloves, yoga socks, if those help you from sliding around. And then of course the other thing that you always want is your water. Okay? Go ahead and remove the blanket. You have that underneath you. We're starting out today in a standing position. Again, always focusing on your posture, improving your breath. Chin is up, shoulders are back, and body is in a straight line. You're not allowing the hips to move out and you're not tucking under. You just want the spine to be in its neutral shape. Okay, so with good posture, shoulders back, let's stand feet about hips width apart, hands down to your sides, and inhale the arms all the way up, looking up to your hands into a deep stretch. Exhale the hands into center, prayer pose. Inhale, standing back bend, reach the arms up, look back. Now the standing back bend comes more from the shoulder area here. So you're rolling the shoulders back and reaching back from the upper spine. It's not necessarily from the lower spine. So instead of hinging the hips forward, okay, we don't want that. That will put too much pressure on your lower back. We want the upper body to move back. Okay, so again, standing back bend. From here, we're moving down to a forward bend. Now have your block ready. Let's go ahead and stand it in its tallest form here. So from this upward position, we're coming down to a forward fold or a forward bend. Let's place the hands on the block at its highest setting. Now you always want the back to be straight. You never want to arch over and just hang. That puts, again, pressure on your back where we don't want it. We want that relaxation stretch to happen in the backs of the legs. A slight bend to the knee so that you're not locking the joint back. Drop the head down. Just hold there, breathing. Always keep your breath consistent. Never hold your breath. Now, stay here if you need to. If you can, take it down to the next level. Hands on the block. Now, if that kind of cuts your breathing off or it adds too much pressure here, bump it back up, bring the ground up to you. Drop the head down, a slight bend in the knees. And if you can, knock it down to its lowest setting. Forward bend. Again, slight bend in the knees, the back is straight, feet are still hips width apart. And then of course, if you don't really need that block at the moment, and your hands can go all the way down to the mat with a slight bend in your knee, making sure though that you're not reaching and forcing that movement, because forcing it will do more harm than good, especially to the back. So flattening out the hands, dropping the head down, slight bend to the knees. And your next movement is halfway up. Okay, a few different ways we can do this here. We can grab onto the feet, the big toe, reaching up, lifting halfway up. Be careful not to strain the neck. Chin and chest are raising. Tailbone is raising. Belly button is dropping to the mat. Now, if that's not an option for you to reach here, you can place your hands on the shins. Just don't push against your legs. Just placing the hands on the shins and reaching up. Or you can go back to that block and reach up. Okay? Again, you should see kind of a U shape or a dip in the back. Tailbone lifts, chin and chest lift, shoulders pull back, belly button drops, slight bend in the knee. Again, this is halfway up. From this position, taking it into a plank. So hands come forward, feet move back. Plank position, this is the starter of a push-up. Now anytime you're on your hands, you want a lot of your weight, most of your weight, toward the pad of the hands, especially the index finger pad. Okay? If you're rolling out to the outer edge of the hand, you're going to feel a lot of wrist pressure. Okay? So if you already have weak wrists, that will just add to the pressure and the pain. So roll your hand toward the center pad, okay? Not just the digits on the mat. You want the center pad of the hand, the palm of the hand, especially that index finger, down into the mat. Okay? Putting pressure on that index finger digit. That will relieve the pressure on the wrist. So move back to plank. Again, this is beginning of a push-up here. You have pressure on the pad of the palm of the hand. Now from here, making sure the hands are directly underneath your shoulder. You don't want them extended out or in or turn any direction. If anything, you have a slight turn outside with the fingers. So from plank, we're moving forward to the toes and then dropping down to what's called hover or low plank. Bending the elbows into the rib cage and down. Now you want to stop at a 90-degree angle here. Okay? So if you place your block here, again moving back to plank, as you shift forward to the toes and you drop down to hover, you shouldn't go any lower than that block. Okay? If you do, you're adding extra pressure to the shoulder and the elbow joints. Okay? So use the block if you need it. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. From high plank, you're shifting forward to the toes and then dropping down to low plank. Pressure is on the pad of the hand, the palm. Index finger is engaged. Shift forward. Elbows bend to the rib cage and shift down. Okay, go ahead and come to the mat. Roll it back up. Now what I mean by elbows into the rib cage, from your plank position, elbows shift in. Okay, so it's almost as if you're putting your weight of your rib cage on your tricep area. Okay, so engaging the proper muscles. Now, if your elbows come out like this, it's going to be much, much harder to hold your body weight and harder on your joints because they have broken that plane there. You're going to bring them straight in. Okay, so let's try a few more times, high plank to low plank. This is a tough position, So just do your best, hold it as best you can, and then bring it down to the mat, come back up, try again. Okay? So at your own pace, high plank to low plank, or high plank to hover, same thing. Keep working with it. Remember, your weight is on the index finger pad of the palm. Okay, go ahead and bring it to the mat. Turn your toes under, tops of the feet on the mat. Next movement is Sphinx. Okay, we're working our way into upward dog. Sphinx. It's kind of the first step to upward dog. Forearms are on the mat, elbows and palms. Feet are as close together as is comfortable for your body. Straight back, tops of the feet down. Press the forearms down into the mat. Lift the chin. Chest up. Should feel that stretching into the obliques, the abs, the lower back, and the shoulders and neck. Okay, lower it down. Step 2 is where we're going next, which is Cobra. Bring the hands in just a little bit, kind of the shoulder area where the hands go. Roll the shoulders back and down, and lifting up about halfway into Cobra. Shoulders down, chin and chest up. What we don't want to see is the shoulders and neck kind of pushing into a turtle shell. Okay, so shoulders roll back and down, chin is lifted, everything is separated in. Roll it back down into your next step, which is upward dog. Shift the hands back toward the chest cavity area. Again, rolling the shoulders back and down, and you're lifting up, again pushing pressure into your palm. Okay, not just the digits of the fingers, but into the palm. Okay, lift the thighs, lift the hips if you can. Shoulders down, chin and chest up. And for now, drop the knees to the mat and roll it down. Let's talk a little bit more about upward dog position. If it's too much to go into upward dog, then you do have the choices of Sphinx and Cobra. So that's why we went over those 2 steps first. So if upward dog is too much, then make sure you modify with Sphinx or Cobra. A couple of options in upward dog. You have the full out upward dog, which is thighs and hips off the mat. If that's too much, go ahead and put the knees down in the upward dog position. If you need more and it's not enough, you can always turn the toes under and lift the thighs and hips off the mat. Okay, so you have lots of options there, lots to choose from. Okay. From this position, you're going to shift fairly quickly, usually when we get going in our warm-up, to a pose called Child's Pose. This is a resting position. Take your knees apart on the mat, feet somewhat together in the back, and shift back to your heels. Now, if you're comfortable there, you can draw the arms forward, hands and arms forward, drop the forehead to the mat. Okay, this is full Child's Pose. If that is uncomfortable, take your block, place your hands on your block. Okay, that just lifts it up and brings the floor up to you a little bit where you're not uncomfortable. Okay, always you can have a block under each hand, extending forward. Okay, another option here would be placing that block underneath your forehead for a little bit of a lift. Okay, whatever level you need it at, just placing the block under the forehead. Okay, you should feel this stretching into the hips, the outer and the inner hip flexor area, the shoulders, the lower back. And from here, we're moving to a pose called downward dog. And leaving the hands, the fingers spread fairly wide, not so wide that it's pulling against your hand. Okay, but spread the fingers wide, turn the fingers to the outer edge of the mat just a little bit. Bring it up to all fours. Curl the toes under. Feet are going to be about hips width apart. Lift up to an upside down V position. Press your weight back toward your heels. Now the heels can stay off the mat. They do not need to go all the way down. Now your goal here is to kind of try to pull your mat apart with your feet and with your hands. That should elongate the spine, relax the body, stretch the muscles. Remember here again, pressure is on the pad of the palm, not the fingertips. Breathe. Again, this is downward dog. Drop the head down, relax the neck. And now walk your feet to hands. We're moving to a pose called ragdoll. Just reach to your elbows, attaching your hands to elbows. Keep your knees bent. Drop it down. Relax the neck. Head is dropped. And lift to halfway up. Again, you have options, holding onto the big toes, to the shins, or to the block, wherever you need to be for halfway up. Remember here, chin and chest are lifted, not to the extent of straining the neck. The tailbone is lifted, belly is dropped down. Breathe. And move to a forward bend. That's hands down to the mat or to the block. Remembering to keep the spine straight, not allowing the shoulders to cave. A slight bend in the knees, head drops down. And on your next inhale, you're shifting all the way up to a standing position, looking up to your hands. And exhale the hands down through the center to your sides. Okay, so at any point, if you need to come back to some of those poses we just spent quite a bit of time on individually in slow motion, come back to this section of the video, rehearse some of those, make sure your technique is good. Maybe if your wrist starts hurting, you need to figure out why. Come back to this section of the video and figure out what's going on with the hand positioning that may be adding pain to that wrist. For the rest of this video, we are just going through that sun salutation, the warm-up, just a couple of times. We're going to move pretty slowly. Usually it is done with the breath, with the inhale and the exhale of the breath. So there's kind of a rhythm for each pose. Today, though, is going to be a little bit slower. So starting again, feet are hips width apart. Hands are down to your sides, shoulders back, good posture. Again, the hips are not rolling forward or back. They are just neutral, straight down. Inhale the arms all the way up. Look up to your hands. Exhale, hands to center, prayer position. Inhale, reaching back, standing back bend, coming from the upper spine, not the lower. And exhale, forward bend. Use the block if you need it. Straight back. Lift halfway up on your inhale. Exhale into high plank. Good amount of pressure into the pad of the hand, not the fingertips. On your next inhale, shift forward to the toes. Drop down to hover on your exhale. Remember 90-degree angle with the elbows, no further. Drop down to the mat. Reach, lifting to upward dog, or here you can go to Sphinx or Cobra if you need to. So upward dog, or your modifications. Shoulders down, chin and chest up. Breathe. For now, drop the knees down, shift back to child's pose. And on your next exhale, move to downward dog. Feet, hips width apart, curl the toes under. Fingers spread, turning a little bit toward the outer edges of the mat. Lift up to an upside down V, downward dog. Shift back toward your heels. Again, pressure is on the pad of the palm, not the fingertips. And slowly walk the feet to hands. Hang in ragdoll, bending the knees, holding onto the elbows. Drop it down. Breathe through the belly. Hands to the mat. Lift to halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. Slight bend in the knee. Back stays straight. And inhale all the way up, flat back. Looking up to your hands. Exhale to center. All the way down to the sides. Let's flow that series one more time. Again, this is just your basic sun salutation. Little bit slow motion since most of us are probably new to this. Again, it's a little bit slow motion, but we will speed it up as the course continues. Just remember each inhale and each exhale usually get a movement into a pose. Okay, some poses hold for a few breaths, but most of these poses that we're doing are an inhale or an exhale. Starting out, good posture again. Hands down to your sides, feet, hips width apart. Inhale the arms all the way up. Reaching up, looking up. Exhaling to center, prayer pose. Inhale, standing back bend. Reaching from the upper chest. Exhale, forward bend. Drop the head down, use the block here if you need it. On your next inhale, move to halfway up. Exhale, high plank. Pressure on the pad of the palm. Exhale, shift forward. Lower it down, hover. Upward dog. You can shift forward like that. If you have a little more experience, let me show that again. From hover, you can turn the feet over and push up. If that's too much for now, go to the belly and then work your way to upward dog. Shoulders down, chin up. For now, shift back, child's pose. Into downward dog. Curl the toes under, feet hips width apart. Fingers spread, pointing to the outer edge of the mat. Pressure in the palm, the pad of the index finger especially, and press back. Pull the mat apart. Slowly walk feet to hands. Hang in ragdoll. release the hands to the mat or the block. Lift to halfway up. And forward bend. Inhale all the way up. Looking to your hands. Exhale through the center. All the way down to the sides. Okay, let's go ahead and have a seat. Just moving into some basic positions here. Let's sit as we did at the beginning of this session. Feet are free. Roll the pelvis forward. If you need a block or your blanket underneath you for these stretches, go ahead and do that. In good posture, you're just twisting to your left, looking over that shoulder. And shift back to center, twisting to the right. Good posture. Back to center, walk the hands forward, just as far as you can. Again, you can use that block if you need it. Place the block forward and place the hands on the block. If you don't need it, it's great, but make sure that your spine is straight, that you're not hunching over just to get further. Back is straight. You should feel that stretching along with the shoulders, the upper body, into the hips especially. And walk it back in, switching the cross of the legs. So other foot should be forward now. Okay, good posture, twisting back to the left. Back to center, around to the right. Back to center, walk it forward, use that block if you need it. And bring it back in. Okay, now moving to all fours. Knees to the mat, hands to the mat. These next couple of poses are cat lift and cat, also called cat-cow. Okay. Cat lift or cow is arching the back into a U shape. So tailbone lifts, chin and chest lift. Again, placing pressure in the palm of the hand, not allowing it to go to the edge of the pinky. And cat is arching the back upward like a mad cat, pulling the belly button up, pushing the hands down, reaching upward to the ceiling, and just shifting back and forth. So on your inhale, cat lift, also called cow. On your exhale, move to cat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, cat. Continue that with your breath. Push back to child's pose. Again here, knees are apart, feet are together. Use the block in front of you or under your forehead if you need it. Again, you want to sit back towards your heels. Walk that around to one side. You should feel that stretching through that shoulder, through the oblique. And around to the other side. And back to center. Roll it back up. Move to your back. Pull both knees into the chest. Okay, keep the left knee in. Lower the right leg to the mat. Straighten that right leg out. Press it down into the mat. You should feel that stretching into the hip flexors. And switch the legs. Again, pressing that straight leg into the mat. Not forcing the stretch, but relaxing through the legs, through the back, and relaxing the breath. Release that leg down. Let the legs just come into a neutral position, falling away from each other. And then place your arms out to your sides, palms up, down by your hips. Okay, what we're in now is relaxation pose. I want you to again focus on your breath here. Don't try to change it yet, just observe it. See what is going on with the breath. If you want, instead of the arms being out to your sides, you can place them on the belly. One at the upper belly, one at the lower belly, elbows hanging to the floor. This lets you know if you're breathing deep from the belly or if you're breathing shallow from the upper chest cavity. Always want to inhale deep into the belly, filling it like a balloon, and then exhale. So now's the time, if you observe the breath and it's more in the chest, you want it to be in the belly. Focus on that breath. Deep inhale. And deep exhale. Just keep the eyes closed. Focus on your breath for 5 more breaths. Just relax. And usually from here you'll be guided to move over to the guided meditations. Select one of those. You can either stay in this position or in a seated meditation position like we did at the beginning of the session. Any type of relaxation pose for those meditations. Since we're all probably new to this and getting used to the meditation, you can stop there today or go on and choose one of those guided meditations and relax just a few more minutes with that meditation. Once you're finished, you'll roll over to your right side, just in a fetal position. Take a couple of deep breaths there, and then use that left hand to push your way back up to a seated position. Good job today. See you next time.